Good afternoon.
Well, it's good morning, but I'll go with it nonetheless. How are you
Oh
today?
my goodness. It's been a while since I've done this, you know.
Yeah.
It's been a while. So, yeah. Welcome to Vlogmas. Day one.
Good
Ta-da.
morning and welcome.
Yeah. Good afternoon to those in the UK and good morning to those in Australia. Which
And
is
good
probably
morning
about,
to
what,
everybody
3
in the
a.m. or
U.S.
something
because,
ridiculous.
yeah, U.S. is all morning still, so you're fine.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Okay,
boy.
so we got a few people in already. Hello to Rena LaRue. How you doing, my darling? Elaine, how are you, sweetheart?
Lucia.
Lucia, yeah, I can't English. This is gonna go well, isn't it?
Well, it's going to be a long morning, but that's okay as long as we're productive, right?
It's all good, right? And Dawn, we have the lovely Dawn from New Beginnings, My Everyday Life in Rural Cyprus. Oh, good
Look, I'm
grief!
gonna, I'm gonna rip this tree out right out of the ground.
You leave that tree alone.
Okay.
We need the trees.
Okay. Okay.
I
I'll
like
go with that.
breathing. Yeah. So this year's Vlogmas is going to be a little bit different. And if you've seen the video that I put out a couple of weeks ago now, I think it was, explaining why I'm doing Vlogmas the way I am, then you will have a little idea of what's going on. Okay. Just a little one. Oh, look, Kettle Kitchen's in the house. Ta-da!
Yeah, that
Who
guy's
knew?
shitty. Watch out for him. Sorry.
So, because unless you've been living under a rock or have money that you are literally chucking in the fireplace to keep warm, you'd know that there's a cost of living crisis going on. And the problem is that over here, a third of the people, the population, are now classed as living in poverty, and a tenth of those are now living in destitution. So that's
Right.
quite a lot of people, not going to lie. And absurd numbers for people who are supposed to be living in a first world country, or what is classed as a first world country. Ashley's Allotment Adventures. Hello, Ashley, darling. How you doing? So this year's Vlogmas is very much about helping people who aren't used to that kind of life or are finding it a struggle that they're not used to, being able to do the things without having to have the added extra stress and everything. So it's about teaching them a mindset and showing ways of being able to look after yourselves, etc. And yeah, but we will get into it. Now, my first 6 videos for this month are going to be about Christmas, what are classed as Christmas veg. Because Aldi in this country are putting a price cap on what they class as Christmas veg, which is your potatoes, your cabbages, your carrots, your swede or rutabaga, parsnips, Brussels sprouts. Okay. And they're putting the price cap on from last year's prices, which means that a 2 kilo, which I think is £4 of potatoes, or around between £4 and £5 potatoes.
It would be 4.4 pounds to be exact.
Hey, I said between 4 and 5. That was pretty good. Is going to be 15 pence. Now, at the moment, that amount of potatoes is anywhere between 70 and 90 pence. But for 90 pence, you can then go and buy 10 kilos, for example.
Right.
All right. So those first 6 videos, I'll be showing top 10 ways of how to store and preserve those vegetables in particular, so that people can make the best use of those if they are able to stock up.
Which is great.
Yeah. because we're going to have to do it. Now, those prices are going to be available from the 18th of this month. So they're not doing it all month, but they're doing it from the 18th. So be aware of that. Now, I don't know if they're doing them anywhere near you, but here in the UK, that's exactly what they're doing. The rest of the month is going to be focused on looking at stuff that they have in the Christmas food catalogues for supermarkets, etc., which is so overpriced that I would class it as price gouging.
Yes, I agree.
And I'm going to be showing you ways of how you can make those things yourself for either the same amount of money and you get way more bang for your buck, so loads more for the money that you're spending, or for less than the money that you would be spending so that you've got money left for other things.
Right.
Okay, so that's literally what Vlogmas is about this year. And today, Tony has very kindly offered to help me with my live because we're going to be talking about the mindset behind all of this and how you can stop being so overwhelmed, because it is very overwhelming, because at the moment we are hammered with all the Christmas marketing, all the Christmas advertising. And if you're in a really bad spot, it's going to be worse for you because your whole brain is going to be going, but I can't do this and I can't do that and I can't do something else. Right. So we're going to give you some examples of things that you can do. Okay. And some of the things that I suggest in this live I'll be showing in videos down the track as well. Every Friday up until Christmas Eve, we are going to be doing this live. Now, if you've seen something in the stores that you would like to know how to do on a cheaper level, please do let me know. Send it down to either my email or you can ask in chat, and we will do our best to answer you the best way we possibly can. Okay? So that's pretty much what it's all about.
Which I think, who doesn't love starting off a Vlogmas with a live?
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know, right? You know? And to be honest, it's really good because it means that we can answer your questions live.
Yep.
So you don't have to wait until I can answer messages or emails or any of that. We can do this on a Friday. And anything you've seen during the week, if you've got any questions about, you are more than welcome to ask about that during the live.
Please do.
Yes, please do. Okay. Thank you, Donnie. Bless her. Also, you'll find on my community page on YouTube, but you'll also find it on Facebook. I am putting out a kind of like a little story, kind of like a helpful sort of positive message about some of the media of Christmas and the wrong messages and how we can bring it back. Yeah. So don't be scared to go and have a look at that. You're more than welcome to go and have a look at that. If you don't want to look at it here, you can go and have a look at it on my page on YouTube, and all of that's down below in the description. Also, in a lot of the videos that I'm doing for Vlogmas, the written post will be on my blog, and that link is down below as well. Now, I can receive super chats now. And anyone who comes right? It's so exciting. So anyone who does anything like that or donates through YouTube to my channel, the money from that will be going to the Haven here in York to help pay for Christmas dinners for people who may not be able to afford them when they do their community Christmas dinner the Wednesday before Christmas. Okay? So Just be aware of that as well. Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Mr. Tony.
Yeah.
Over to you. I need a drink.
Well, okay. So let's preface this whole thing we're talking about by what do we mean price gouging? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's where part of my personal problem is. It's my own opinion. If Blue agrees to it, then she does. If she doesn't, she doesn't. If anybody inside chat agrees to it, doesn't, that's fine. This is my opinion. Okay.
Yeah.
This is from a US point of view. Okay. -1. But I'm going to give you 3 examples of what I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about company A, company B, and company C. Okay.
Yeah.
All 3 of these companies are food outlets. Okay.
Yeah.
2 of them, well, one of them is a big box store, name not to be mentioned. And the other 2 are grocery chains, names not to be mentioned.
Okay. By big box store, do you mean like a cash and carry kind of warehouse kind of place?
I'm talking about the big box store that has inundated the US and has blue and yellow in its colors.
Okay, I'm trying to find out what the wording of big box store is. Now, big box store means that you can buy bigger boxes than you can in supermarkets, right? You can get whole.
No. Big box store is a place where you can get your clothes, your food, your car maintenance, everything at one location. It's a big box store.
Wow. Okay.
And it's a big company in the US, but I'm still not going to mention the name of it. Okay.
Oh, hello. We got Blind's Promised Land in the house.
Hello.
Okay. Walmart
I
is
would 100%
okay, cool.
agree with what she's saying right there.
Right. Okay. All right. So our equivalent of that over here would be Asda, because it was owned by Walmart. And you can pretty much go in there and buy pretty much anything that you need.
I love Monica. She has no filter when she does it.
No, it's awesome. And she knows I've got none either, so it's all good.
Okay. All right. So store number A, which is big over here in the US, is a conglomeration of a bunch of stores that used to be independent and now are owned under one umbrella. Okay.
Right. Okay.
This chain, now this is what we're talking about, the price gouging part, and you guys will understand. Okay. We get it when we were back in the pandemic and it was hard to get people to work because they were sick all the time, yada, 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 whatever the reason is. I'm not here to describe that. Okay. But here's the problem. Okay. This company specifically in the first 3 quarters, all of these will be based on the first 3 quarters. Okay. Because we're in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
This chain specifically generated almost $22 billion in revenue, which is an increase of almost 3% from the year previous. Keep that in mind. Okay.
Wow.
3% of $22 billion is a lot of money. And guess what? All of us are paying for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Store number 2, which happens to incorporate a large same type business over there with you guys, but they're also here in the US too, which they shall remain unnamed.
You don't have to unname them. I don't care.
I'm unnaming them.
It's not. I'm not monetized, so I don't give a shit.
Okay. So the first thing we're talking about in the US is the Albertsons Corporation. They now own Safeway. They now own Kroger. Or I think it's changing over to Kroger, but it's all Albertsons, Safeway, Kroger, all of it together. Right. Okay. Plus a couple others. All right. And you don't need to, Monica. I love it. I love it.
I love you.
Anyways, that was the first chain primarily in the US. Okay. You guys have Aldi's all over there as well, correct? Or Aldi's?
Yeah, we have our equivalents of them over here. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys, at least when I looked at the information, it says that it's UK-US company. So
probably is.
Okay. That being said, now this is based off of 21 to 22. None of the numbers for this year are out, but it still gives you an example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Last year up to end of 22, they made $178 million profit.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, no, that's not the wow part. You ready for the wow part?
Yeah.
That's over $60 million more in profit than the year previous.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And who's paying for it?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 3, which is the big box store that Monica mentioned.
That's Walnut Mart for everybody else, and Asda over here in the UK.
As of third quarter of this year, they have made almost $48 billion in revenue, and that's a 3% increase from the year before.
See that? Okay, so to me, that's wrong. And I'll tell you.
Don't anybody tell me it's lack of employees. It's because they can't get food delivered. It's because of this. It's because of now that does happen. I'm not denying.
Oh yeah, absolutely does happen. And here in the UK, we are having problems with that because of Brexit.
I get that. I get it. Okay, but they're still making a profit. They're not going in the negative. They're not declining.
Exactly. That is the whole point. They are still making record profits.
Right. And
absolutely
the problem
making record profits.
The problem I have is you can claim lack of employees, sorry, I'm trying to get out of the treeway, lack of distribution issues, lack of resources, lack of whatever. I get it. Okay. Except, thank you. You're so much better. Except the problem with it is that they're still making profit. That means they're not losing. Okay, here's the flip side to this, and I'm sure we'll get into this later. Your products that you spent $3 on last year are now $4, and the container's gotten smaller, which means the quantity of product is smaller. But they're still making profit. They're not losing out.
And it's not only that, but if they took that 3% profit, right, and invested in their stuff, they would get more stuff.
If I could buy, if for a $3 item, I'm now paying $4, $5, and $6. I would buy 2 of them if I had the ability to do that, because now I'm getting more quantity, I'm putting it out. I have no issue doing that because it presets stocking me up. I have no issue with that. Okay.
Yeah.
But I can't keep doing it the way they're doing it now. Now I'm buying what I can, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And we're having to do the same thing. Now, Tanny's company, that you would think they would look after their employees a bit better, because they go through drivers like no tomorrow. Probably they get 1 in 7 to stay. Okay, 1 in 7 delivery drivers to stay. Okay. But they're paying the minimum wage, and they're refusing to pay overtime now if they have to travel. So they're not covering that, but we're still expected to keep their vans outside our houses, keep them safe, and keep them clean.
Yeah.
Because they don't have their setup done properly yet. And Tony has to leave half an hour early every morning now because he has to go and fill up the van, because the van they've given him has a smaller tank. So he's now, instead of leaving at 4 o'clock, is now leaving at 3:30 to go and fill up the van.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's another half hour less sleep that he gets. It's another half hour of less being at home that he has. And he doesn't get home between, I mean, some days he's really lucky and he gets home at about 4:30. But most of the time it's after 5 o'clock, 5:30.
Right.
So he's doing all these hours, and because they've taken the overtime off for those drivers that still live here in York, since they've moved the warehouse, he's £700 worse off a month.
Jeez.
You know, so it's hitting us too. Do you know what I mean?
It is.
I mean, we do all right. Don't get me wrong, we're all right, but
you could be, if you go back to a point where you're not doing that, you then become that much better. That's the problem.
Yeah. Hey, Helen's turned up. Miss Murphy. How you doing, darling? But yeah, like Dawn said, not only smaller, but made with cheaper ingredients. Now, the thing is that over here in the UK, we only produce 17% of the food that we eat.
Right.
We are very, very, very reliant on Europe and the rest of the world to get our food. But because the customs isn't set up properly yet, still, we've got trucks that are still sitting around in Kent for up to 4 days. Now, those trucks turn their engines off because they can't fill them up. So the refrigeration units are turned off. So 60% of what comes into this country gets dumped.
Because it has no chance to even sit out on the shelf.
No, it's not even fit to go on the shelf by the time it gets to the warehouses. And we also get rid of 60% of the food that we produce in this country because it's not perfect for the supermarkets. Right. So it's sitting in the fields.
Yep.
So we only produce 17% of the food that we eat. 60% of that 17% is going back into the land. Mm-hmm. Being left to rot. Because the supermarkets are demanding perfect carrots and perfect this and perfect that. And if it's not perfect, or like the egg shortage that we had last year over Christmas, because the supermarkets weren't paying the farmers what the eggs were worth. And you had videos of farmers dumping hundreds of thousands of eggs in pits because the supermarkets weren't allowing them to sell them on. So you're stuck in this situation, right? Mm-hmm. So the eggs were there. Farmers were just going, we're not giving them to you for that price because it costs us twice as much as you're trying to pay us to produce them.
So I'm the optimistic guy, and I try not to be pessimistic as much as possible, but you have a tendency to do it anyway. But my optimism in that whole description of what you gave is it's great for the ground.
Oh, yeah. The ground that is now has the government's turned around and said that farmers can now use the pesticide that was banned in this country because it kills bees.
Oh, no.
They're now allowed to use it again.
And then we'll be right back to having...
So we're back to where we were. Right. Monocrops on massive fields that are just being overused, overworked, turned into soil that is hydrophobic, lacking nutrients, all of that kind of stuff, which is why I tell people, if you know a farmer, go and talk to them.
Right.
Because all that stuff that's sitting in the field, 9 times out of 10, they'll go fill your boots.
I'm with New Beginnings down there. If you're looking for a perfect vegetable, no one does that. You grab what looks the best as far as a healthy vegetable. You don't care what shape it is.
No.
I actually like it if it's got an extra leg or whatever on it because I'm getting more out of it.
I mean, they sell what is called wonky veg over here now, but most of it is just not the right size and it's been snapped in half maybe.
Right.
But it's not the stuff that's got the odd shapes and stuff like that. My carrots that came out of the ground, I didn't have one straight one amongst them.
Yeah, you had some funky looking carrots.
I had some pretty awesome looking carrots. They were great, man. Seriously.
I would take your carrots over store-bought carrots any day just because of the way they look. They look healthy. They look, you know, like they should, you know. So
they were great.
I want to go back to something you said earlier. You know, if the stores had taken 3% and put it back into their products that, you know, they were shafting everybody on.
I said put it into their stuff.
Right. Put it into their stuff.
A proper living wage.
Right. Staff. Yeah. Sorry, not stuff. I apologize.
No,
now I get it.
Staff, point being, staff, workers in it. The frontline people that if they walked out, they wouldn't have.
Hey, sister, I'm on here with you. You don't have to act like I'm in La La Land, okay? Nonetheless, let's come back to what I was saying. 3% is $4.5 billion when we're talking about Walmart.
Yeah.
$4.5 billion.
Yeah.
All of us in this chat, all combined together in our lifetimes, will not see $4.5 billion. Okay.
No. Most of us can't conceive what that number is.
No.
Which is why when I did my Why I'm Doing Vlogmas This Way video, I put it in perspective of populations of the highest populated cities in this country.
Right.
Because then people can go, you what? Because that's a concept that people can actually kind of get their head around.
Right.
You know?
The problem is that in some degrees, and I think Monica can understand where I'm coming from with this. The problem is it's a domino effect, okay? Because I know the beef producers out there are charging more than they had before, which then incurs a cost that goes on to the stores and the middle guy and all that stuff. I get all that, okay? The problem with it is that at some point, where's the stop at? Where's the, no, I can't do this. I am not going to charge $30 for a steak,
No.
But there are stores out there doing it. That's the problem.
But if these stores were paying their staff properly, if they were paying them a proper living wage, not a minimum wage, but a proper living wage, and putting that excess revenue back into their staff, the staff could pay that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think we've talked about this before, and this again is to support. And see, that's exactly what I'm talking is about what Monica's saying right there, because my attack is not on the farmer. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah,
99% of your farmers out there are not receiving this extra money that's being made. Everybody needs to understand that. And Monica, if I'm wrong, please tell me, but I don't think I am. Okay.
Yeah.
It is from the farmer on is where these prices are being incurred and created and doubled and tripled and quadrupled and whatever that amount is. Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about it with you the other day, especially not the other day, but a while ago when we were talking about the eggs, and the egg farmers are like, they're not charging more for the eggs going out, but by the time it gets to the store, it's quadrupled in price.
Yeah. And they're saying it's an egg shortage because of avian flu, which didn't exist last Christmas. Can I just say?
Right. Right.
In this country,
not in your area.
It was not a thing, and the stores were all saying, "Oh, there's an egg shortage because of avian flu."
Right.
I think there were 2 cases, and that was it.
Ours wasn't even that. Ours was there's a worker shortage, and so they can't produce as much. I'm like, they squat in a nest. It drops down to a belt, which runs it in and takes it through its process. And you got somebody to move a forklift. How many people do you need to process eggs? Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. But the thing is as well, again, they are minimum wage people. They are people working long hours for absolute minimum wage. It's not a living wage. And half of the people who are working in these places still have to go and get another job to make ends meet.
Right.
I agree with the other day where there's this girl who is working full time, who's had to turn around while she was in Aldi and walk away because she can't afford to feed herself.
And if you can't do it, you can't do it.
And she can't do it. And she's not even paying for private rental. She's paying for social housing. So a 1-bedroom with social housing here in York is about £423 a month. I know that. That's what my son is paying.
Here in my local area, it's about $6. I think it's $6.50 is the lowest amount here.
Yeah.
But I want to hit on what she's saying though. She is, and it's the mindset of most of your farmers, regardless of what industry they're in. They're trying to hold off as long as they can putting these prices out because they already know what people are paying. But at some point they have to. It's not the farmer I'm having issue with.
No.
It's everyone in between the farmer and the buyer that is just trying to money grab the best that they can out of this.
Absolutely. And you've got people, again, working in the supermarkets for minimum wage, and the supermarkets trying to find ways that they don't have to pay for extra staff by putting in things like self-serve checkouts. Each one of those self-serve checkouts is actually represents 4 people's jobs.
Yeah.
4 people. So if you go into your local supermarket or whatever, and you count up how many self-serve checkouts they've got, and times it by 4, that's how many staff they don't have anymore because of those checkouts.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, I want to throw this out.
Yeah.
Who likes their customers and loves the people that surround themselves by them? Farmers do.
Yeah, they do.
There you go, Monica. Yeah. That was just for you.
Yeah. And farmers do it for the love of it. They're not in it for the money. They do. You know, but they need the money to feed the animals and keep it going.
It's like a happy balance. They've got to have money to feed themselves. They do it because they like it, but it also is providing something to people out there. And our farmers are the starting point of almost everything we all consume at some level, one way or the other.
Absolutely. And without the farmers, we wouldn't
attack your farmers. It's not your farmers. It's past the farmers on where the problem becomes an issue.
The time that this really clicked home to me and my kids had moved rurally in Australia, and it was during the drought, and it was 25 years ago. Okay. The farmers were only being paid by the supermarkets $1.50 a head for the lamb. That lamb, when it got to the supermarket, was being charged to the customer at $27 a kilo. 2 pounds, 2.2 pounds of meat. $27. That price never went down. To this day, has not gone down. But the farmers are still only getting $1.50 a head, $2 a head.
That's the whole point I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
That is. I like what she said over there. You know, they put these self-checkouts in the hope that it makes things more efficient and they're cutting costs. Yeah. Okay. The problem is most of these stores have found out that they're doubling, tripling, quadrupling, even 10 times in some locations, the theft going out of their stores because they now don't have that central point that everybody's going through to be checked as they walk through. So
yeah, exactly. And you know, all of this, as Dawn says, profiteers aren't going hungry this Christmas or ever. And it's exactly that. It's profiteering. Yeah. It is price gouging. I'm going to call a spade here because that's exactly what it is.
Well, I'll call a heart a heart. You call a spade, okay?
Yeah. But to me, they're spades. Okay, they're spades. We need to get them shoveled and gone, you know?
So we've been on here 35 minutes. Yeah. Should we actually start talking about some of the things we're looking at?
Yes, let's do that. So let's get on to some positive stuff, okay?
Okay.
Now, for a lot of people that are being inundated with all Christmas stuff again, it gets very, very overwhelming when you look at the prices and you look at the catalogs and you go, I can't afford this. Can't afford that. I can't afford this. I can't afford that. I've still got to feed my family.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're charging us, like one of the supermarkets here is charging £25 for a Yule log. All right. £25 for a Yule log. Now I'm laughing at that.
Funny. I'm laughing at that.
This thing is this big. Okay. Yeah. It's a cake. It's that big. I've gone and looked at it. It is that big. Now you can go even if you don't have the skills or the time to make your own Swiss roll and all of that kind of stuff.
Which is what I would do, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, which is probably what some of us would do, right? Okay. You can go and buy a chocolate-filled Swiss roll, just a plain one.
Just a Swiss roll, not a Yule log.
A
Swiss roll, yes.
$2.
Yeah.
$2.
And doctor that mama up.
And you can get the extra large one for £2.50.
And isn't that shocking? Think about what you just said. Okay. A
Yeah.
normal one you can get for £2, and
Yeah.
an extra large one you can get for 50 more cents,
£2.50.
which probably costs the same amount as the original one for the
Yes,
difference.
exactly. Right.
Right.
So then you go to somewhere like over here where my bam works. He works at B&M. All right, which is it's almost like a cheap version of Target. It's mostly homewares, tiny bit of food, tiny bits of food, but it's all like dry store items. There's not a lot of fresh stuff in there, right?
Okay.
So they've got little tubs of Betty Crocker's dark chocolate fudge icing.
I love it with the way you say that, Betty Crocker.
Betty
I love
Crocker.
that.
All right,
Sorry.
£2, £2, right?
Okay, even at the big one, we're at $4.50 now.
Even at the big one, we're at £4.50, right?
See you later, Monica.
Bye, Monica, darling.
Thank you.
Most of us around Christmas have got bits of chocolate. We've got the selection tins, you know, the heroes tins or the celebrations tins or whatever, right? So you grab a handful of those and you decorate the top with it. Mm-hmm. Again, at B&M, they now have the edible glitter spray for £1.50 a bottle.
Okay.
Now, to do what they've done on their Yule log, it's going to take one spray, one little pump to get it done.
And you have that glitter spray for the rest of the year after that.
And you've got okay, so the bottle's only about this big, right? Okay, so the bottle is only this big, but that would probably do you 100 Yule logs with no questions asked. You could go wild with that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And cover everything, everyone who's coming to visit, all of that with this stuff, and it's only cost you $1.50. Seriously? £25.
Right. So you could have made it for $6 at worst. You could have saved yourself $19 and probably bought a whole nother meal with that. And it probably, in the end, probably tastes and looks better than that $25 one does.
Yeah.
In the end. Yeah, I was just looking at that. Isn't that amazing?
Better to not have it and not to diet next year. Do you know what? It's Christmas, though. And we all want to have some nice things around for Christmas. But to charge that amount of money, see, their argument is, right, that they're having to pay someone to do it. The person they're paying already works in the place that is being made. Yeah. So they've already paid their wages. They're not hiring new staff to do it.
Yeah. It'd be different if Blue went around and bought 5 different ingredients and went to a baker and said, I'm short on time. Will you please do this? And they wanted to charge her $50 for it. That's different. Okay. But it's the same thought process from the store's angle that's what you're asking them to do. When in reality, they're already getting paid for what they're doing.
Yeah. They're already getting paid for it. Sure. Some stores take on temporary staff over Christmas.
True.
But that's only people that are going to be working there for 2 months or something. Right. Now, I'm sorry, but that's not actually cutting into any of their profits. It really isn't. It's
not at $4.5 billion. It's not.
No, they're not even going to feel it at the end of the day. They're not.
So one thing go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So trying to justify we're having to pay someone to do that. Now, even if you're not very skilled as a baker, even if you're not very skilled at cooking, you can knock together a decent looking Yule log with store-bought ingredients in probably 10-15 minutes.
And it be at least half cheaper. At least half.
About a fifth cheaper, let's be honest.
I'm just throwing it out there because there are some things you're not going to get away with that, but you still will get it cheaper than if you let them do it for you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it just made me so angry because I just think, really? And then I started really looking into this Christmas catalogs, really looking at them. Now, they make it all look very pretty. And they make it look all very big. Okay? they make it look a lot bigger than it is, right? By spreading it out or putting it on a smaller plate and bunching it up together and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right. Here, let's do an example. This is exactly what I would like people to take in consideration, okay? You see this pen right here, right?
Yeah.
Kind of looks small and tiny. Will you bigify the screen for me, please?
Yep.
Look how much bigger it is all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That's the point.
That's the point. That's the point. A lot of it, there are laws against false advertising, but there aren't laws that protect people when the photographers are trying to make things look more than there is. Because
which is still the same thing. It's false advertising.
It's the same thing,
but there's a way around it. It's a loophole.
That's their workaround.
Yeah.
Is, doing all of the pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Now.
And there's at least here in the US, I've noticed it's been going on for years. I'm just saying you notice it when you're looking for it. Items are smaller or items are bigger than they really are, or pictures blown up for quality, or you see all this stuff. And it's like, you just got to look at what you're buying because it's right there in front of your face. It really is.
Absolutely. Now, the one place that you can look, if you're just looking in the catalog and you're trying to figure out what's going on, look at the weight.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the weight.
Yep.
Hey, buddy, don't bother. How you doing, darling? I haven't seen you in years. It's great to see you.
I was going to say, I've never seen that name. That's new to me.
No, he's one of my Twitch mates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we used to games, dude. He's one of my gaming dudes. He's great. So what you need to do is look at the weight.
Right.
Okay. Now, this here, I don't know how well you can see it. Can you see that? Now, there is an example of how big that is. That's half a slice of lemon. Okay. Now, the lemons here are not big.
Excuse me. Now I see what you're saying. Yes.
Okay. They're not big. That's a lemon. That in there is a cranberry. So you can start judging the size of what these are.
Yeah, those other things.
Okay. Yeah. Those are fish and chips and mushy peas.
They're like that big.
They're the size of half a fish finger. And not even the fancy fish fingers that are a little bit bigger. I'm talking about the cheap-ass ones that you get at the bottom of the freezer, right? That have got no label on them. They're half the size of one of them. There are 8 in a packet.
Mm-hmm.
They are charging £4.50 for those.
And there you go. Now we get into the meat of where the problem is.
Right. Now, I went to, I think it was the Food Warehouse, which over here is the new name for Iceland, which is a freezer-based frozen food supermarket. Okay. Yes, they do have some dry store stuff. They do have some fresh stuff, but the majority of what they sell is frozen.
Okay.
I got 8 fillets of whitefish for £3. Generic ones, not the fancy big bags, just a little bag. What's
8?
the pound?
You said 8 fillets, right?
Yeah, 8. I can get 4 of those out of 1.
That's what I was just sitting here like 8 times 4. That's 32, and you're only getting 8 for the other thing.
You can get, I mean, they're not big fillets. They're only little ones. They're about that.
It doesn't matter. It's overcharging. Let's be honest. That's the whole point. It doesn't matter.
But, each one of those has a teaspoon, if that, of mushy peas. Right? A teaspoonful, if that. Right. And less than a potato's worth for the whole packet.
Right.
Of the chips. What? I'm just sitting there going, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know, to have enough for, say, if you've got 8 people around, I'm going to be generous and say 8 people, just minimally.
Can I interrupt you just for a second?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to miss this. Rena LaRue, right now, the British pound is one pound equals $1.27 US.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Out of, if I used all of that packet of fish, okay, I would have 32 pieces.
Right.
For £3. I'm already ahead.
I was going to say you're already ahead before you even get started.
I'm already ahead. And all I need is one big potato, and I've got enough chips for the lot, just about. And, you know, most of us have got half a packet of frozen peas floating around the bottom of the freezer. So you just cook them up, add a bit of butter, maybe a little bit of mint, make it a bit fancy. Let's make it a bit fancy. Add a little bit of mint, a little bit of butter, maybe a little bit of cream if you wanted to, and give them a mash, and they're done.
Okay, and so when you look at it from that perspective, you've spent, even throwing in that at some point you had to buy the peas, okay? But you've spent what, 4 pounds, 4.50 pounds, and you've gotten 32 of them, and
you've
probably
got 32 of them. You've probably used 2 cups of peas.
Right.
2 cups of peas that have been rattling around in your freezer or whatever.
And of course, and I know Blue said this, but I want to reiterate, we're not here to discount the convenience. I get the convenience, I get all that, but you're wasting money is the point. That is really what the point's coming down to. And most of these things that we will talk about are items most of us would have in our house anyways, or it's easily readily available at a cheap price.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, even if you didn't have the money to go out and buy the fish fillets or whatever, okay, chances are you might have crumbed fish in your freezer. It's a big thing over here. People have it. I was going to
say we don't have that, but I'll go with it.
Okay, so over here, it's a known thing. People tend to have things like crumbed fish in their freezer. And if that's what you've got, use it. If you've got a tin of mushy peas up in your freezer, up in your cupboard, use that. And whatever other potatoes
Patty would probably say if they're in the can.
If you've got just oven fries in your freezer, use them.
Patty would tell you that the peas would be mushy before she even started, but not for the same reason you're talking about. She says it's got to be fresh or she ain't doing it.
I totally get that. But see, like over here, mushy peas are a thing.
No, and I get it. I get it.
Fish and chips. So that is why they have these.
I get it.
But, you know, if nothing else, you can make it with store-bought ingredients that you have rattling around your house or might have rattling around your place.
Or improvise to something
or
different.
Improvise it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the point. That's
and
the point.
9 times out of 10, home cooks, usually their best meals are accidents that have happened. Just saying.
Yeah. They are. Yeah. They are. See, also curry is a big thing over here as well. And there's not many households that don't go and get a curry at least maybe once a fortnight, once a month. But they've also got leftovers from that.
Right.
Now, instead of chucking them, because a lot of it does end up at the back of the fridge, let's be honest. Not everybody likes cold curry the next day. Not everybody does it. But if you put it in a little zippy bag and put it in the freezer, I'll show you something else you can make, right? Those there.
You got to bigify because I can't make out what you're showing us.
Okay. Do you need me to bigify or no?
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay. Oh, no. I want
other way, though.
Drag reorder. There we Why is it not? There we go. Right. Okay. Those there.
In the middle.
In the middle, these here are called chicken tikka bites.
Chicken what bites?
Chicken tikka bites.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, chicken tikka masala is quite a popular curry over here, right? Okay. Those are the size, for those in the UK, of a 50p piece. That. You get 6 for £4. 6 for £4. You can go to the supermarket and buy 2 naan bread for £1.50. At that size, if you're making them at that size, you can get 60 out of one of them. Now, if you've made curry and you've got leftovers and you freeze it, you just pull that out and plump it on your store-bought naan bread.
Right.
All right, Donnie, take care, darling.
See you later.
You know, this is what I'm talking about. This is stuff, right? This is the stuff where the price gouging comes in, because seriously.
So let me give them an example from me.
Hang on. Okay? Suburban hillbilly. I didn't know where you live. No notification, and says you started 14 hours ago. No, darling, not quite 14 hours ago, darling. We only started like 51 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're not doing the 41 hours ago thing.
But hi, how you doing? And hi, Glenda.
Oh.
So, you know, this is the stuff. This is the stuff that people over here would be going out and buying because it's stuff that they recognize, they like, they would eat.
Right.
Okay. If you don't have a cookie cutter and don't want to waste any of the naan bread that you've just bought for £1.50 for 2 of them, cut it in squares. No one cares it's got corners. No one cares it doesn't look fancy. You know, no one cares. Seriously, no one, and I can't say this enough, no one cares about the frills and bells and whistles. No one.
90% of the time, they're not touched. They're pushed off to the side, and people think they're annoying and get in the way anyways.
And it's wasted food.
And it's wasted food, yes.
That doesn't mean you can't make it look set up on the plate, right? Okay, right. Or whatever you're serving it on. Doesn't mean you can't do that. But what I'm saying is, no one cares if it's in circles, rounds, triangles, or friggin' stars. No one gives a shit. No one ever cares about that.
No.
You know, that's Pinterest-worthy food. That's top-end catering food. That is chefy food. That is not everyday people food, even if it's an event. It doesn't matter. And this is really what I want to get home to people, because it is, they go, oh, but it's got to look this way, it's got to look that way, it doesn't look like this, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. People are there to care about hanging out with their family and their friends and to spend time with you.
Right.
They don't care that you've got 30 different things on there and you're spending half your life in the kitchen trying to pull things out of the oven.
Don't care.
In fact, they will care about that because they're not going to be able to spend time with you.
Right.
All this stuff in the supermarkets is all very lovely.
Oh, Blue's not fired up. She's just Blue.
Oh, this is just me, love. This is just me, love.
You just get to see her when in her normal state instead of the calm, cool, collected state. And that's actually not true. In all honesty, she was going through the sale ads. I mean, she even talked to me the day first day she did it. She was rip roaring. You guys, this is mellow compared to what she was.
This is the polite version of me.
Yes, yeah.
Poor Tony could put both barrels. Tanny cops at both barrels.
Yeah.
This is the stuff I'm really passionate about, because
Yeah.
this is the stuff that messes people up in the head. This time of year, the rates of suicide go up exponentially.
I think Ashley hits this spot on the head right there.
Yes.
It's exhibition food, but the taste is much more important with who you are and sharing it with.
Yeah.
That's important right there.
Yeah.
And I agree with Glenda. It's paper plates at our place. I am not spending the time doing the dishes. I already got enough to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And who cares?
Yeah.
No one cares. No one cares.
But as an example over here, one of the things I looked at, and it's the quick and easy thing, so I'm going to pick it, was pudding cake platters for a dessert that you could take. Okay?
Yeah.
You get 24 slices on, or I think it's 30
They're
slices.
half slices even, aren't they? They're not full slices.
They are. So what they did is they took pound cake, more or less, cut it in half, put 5 rows of 6 on a platter, and they're calling that dessert.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably good people. How much they're charging for that?
$24.99 plus tax.
For half a cake?
More or less half a cake, yes.
Half a cake?
So I figured I could go to another store, pay $6.47, buy the it was 12. I guess it'd be 13, but I can still get it in that. I think it's an 18 pack. You can get it in it sliced. I could cut them down. It still is costing me $8 compared to $25. That's the whole point I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
You can do it even buying the store products, not making it yourself. You can still do it a lot cheaper and theoretically just as quick, especially this. You pull it out, you cut it, it's done. There's nothing to it.
Yeah. And exactly. So, like Suburban Hillbilly says, anyone can make that from a couple of box cakes mixes,
yes.
right?
Yes, exactly.
That's
correct.
Cool. But a lot of people over here are going, but I can't turn on my oven for any longer than this. I've got enough electric or enough gas to turn on the oven for this amount of time.
Right.
So what I would say to them is use your oven smartly.
Yes.
Don't turn it on and off and on and off and on and off, because that is going to chew through your electric and gas really, really fast. You're going to have your oven on, turn it on early in the morning. Get a cake rack in the bottom of your oven and use that to put another tray on. So you've got an extra rack in your oven. So then you've got maybe 4 or 3 rather than 2 or 3. Yeah.
Right.
Don't have anything straight on the floor of the oven, though, because it will burn, it will scorch, right? So, but make the best use of your oven. If you're going to be cooking a turkey or something in there, you've still got room for 2 more racks.
Right.
Get your baking done at the same time. Most baking is done at the same temperature as a piece of meat.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Do it all at the same time. Make the best use of it.
I think the biggest thing that people need to take from what we're trying to say is make the best use of the expenses you have out there. If there's something you can't replicate, you can't make, you can't have done for cheaper than what you normally would, save those for very specific special items. Okay.
Yeah.
Most of what you can get in a deli, or grocery counter or whatever you guys call it, I'm not sure, but it's still the same theory.
Deli counter, yeah.
Okay. You can there's 3 options. You can buy their version. You can buy store products to make the same type of thing for half the price, and 9 times out of 10 you can make it homemade yourself, take the time for a quarter of the price, if not less.
Yeah, but if you're already cooking the meat, you've already got it.
Right. I'm saying all this stuff in general. There's 3 options. Don't spend the money on the fluffy stuff, because 9 times out of 10 you can do it cheaper and you know what's going in it.
Use the fluffy stuff as inspiration to do your own stuff. Now, Farm Foods this week, which is another frozen food place over here, they have 2.5 kilo bags of the chicken tenders, which is the little fillet off the breast.
Right.
£9.99. Now, for all of the pretty crumbed ones and the ones with the cranberry dip and all of this sort of faff, they're charging £5.50 for 6 pieces.
Right.
£5.50 for 6 pieces. No. Let's go and get that. You can do a whole heap of stuff with that. You know?
Well, and that's the other thing that goes with what we're talking about. 9 times out of 10, most of this stuff we're talking about, you can get 2, 3, 4 times the amount for less the price than what they're
the price or the same price.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I was talking to you this morning about the duck croquettes.
Yes.
No bigger than the size of a chicken nugget from Macca's.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What was it? 8 of it for £5.50.
Mm-hmm.
With a bit of cherry jam with some hoisin sauce in it. I'm sitting there going, but you can get a whole duck for £7.50.
That's what I'm like. Why would you do that?
You can get a whole duck for £7.50.
Right.
Now, if you're roasting that duck off because you got to make these croquettes, right?
Yeah.
Automatically, you've saved yourself £3.50. Now, how have you done that? Because in the bottom of that pan is your duck fat that they're charging anywhere between £3 and £4 a jar for.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've already got that sitting in the bottom of the tin. So you can strike that off your list.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you use your thigh meat, your duck and your leg meat and your wing meat and strip it off the bone, you've got your meat for your croquettes, and I can guarantee you'll probably get 16 out of that.
Yes. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get about 16. You've still got the breast meat. Now you can do one or two things at this point. You can either, if you've got wonton wrappers or spring roll wrappers or something in the house, you can make yourself some duck spring rolls, which also, can I just say, 8 of them, £4.50 in some places, £6 somewhere I saw for 4 today. You know,
I need to do something. It's going to take me 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
That's okay.
Okay.
So for a £7.50 bird, you've already saved yourself how much money? Just by having that. You know, a jar of sour cherry jam is £1.50, and it's actually on offer at the moment for £1.20. A bottle of hoisin sauce, which a lot of us, if you are into that kind of thing, you've probably got a bottle battering around in the back of the cupboard somewhere. You're only going to need a couple of tablespoons of that. But it's £1.80 at the moment where we are for a small bottle if you don't have it. So it's like, why are we going out and spending all of this money for a fancy label that says Christmas on it when we can sit at home and do it ourselves, not have to worry about fighting in the supermarkets, right? Sit at home. You can have your Christmas movie on while you're making the stuff. Really? You can sit at the table, watch your Christmas movie, have all that going. Get the kids involved. Get your partner involved. Get everyone doing some stuff, you know, instead of just sitting there and just doing nothing. Do you know what I mean? What have we got going on over here? You all missed my groceries disaster. My fridge died, and I had just been to the store. I lost everything in it and had to replace the old fridge in a week before Thanksgiving. Oh, honey. I'm so sorry. For me personally, as far as Christmas is concerned, I give with my heart, not my wallet. Exactly right. Exactly right. Being laughed at by Suburban Hillbilly because she knows me too well. Rena says, that sucks when it happens. We've lost a freezer full of meat a couple of times. I think we've all been through it. Do you know what I mean? The good thing about this time of year is because it's so cold for those of us up in the north, if you put it in ice boxes like eskies and ice boxes that you would take to a picnic, you can stick it in the shed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could do that today quite happily. It's -2 degrees here. So if our freezer gave out, that's exactly what we'd be doing, is just packing it all up in boxes and buckets and stuff and stick it in the shed until we could get another freezer over here, Suburban Hillbilly, you did not scare Tony away. Ta-da! He has returned.
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay, Ashley, have a good one, darling.
He's never been able to scare me away yet.
Thank you for being here, Ash. It's been lovely having you. Yeah, so my big takeaway from this is use these as your inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you're, use them as your inspiration of what you can actually do.
Right.
Look at the ingredients. Look at how it's made. Look at the bare bones. We bought 3 kilos in 2 separate packets. So we've got a 1.5 kilo bag of cold water prawns that have been peeled and cooked,
mm-hmm.
and they're, ready to go. They're the really, really small ones. All right. About the size of a fingernail that you might use in a prawn sandwich, right? Got 1.5 kilo bag of those, and we've got a 1.3 kilo bag of king prawns. Now that cost us 30 quid. I know it's a bit of an investment straight off, but if you want to go and buy the tempura prawns for 8 of them, the spring roll rapid prawns, you want to make the I think it was the paella balls that are in here.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got, say for those 3 boxes on their own, that's £15, and you've only got 24 pieces.
24, yeah.
24 pieces of food for 15 quid. Over that,
which is going to be scarfed down in a matter of seconds.
It's literally going to evaporate. Let's be honest. But if you've got all of these, then you can make your own things,
mm-hmm.
and it will go further, and you will make more. And if you're making some, you're going to make more of those, because you've got the ingredients to do it. So it's all a matter of perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, okay, well, I've got 50 quid to go and buy 10 boxes or whatever. Or you can say, I've got 50 quid. I can go and buy the ingredients to make eggs. And then end up with X amount more.
I thought about something after we had got off last night. I was thinking about it was because there are some people. Okay, so if one of the things we had talked about was the pinwheel meals, and they want they want 50. I think it was $50 for it. Okay.
Yeah.
And we figured between ourselves, well, you can buy all the stuff for that and spend $15 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is true. But then you had made a comment. Well, if you don't want that much, then you can cut your price back. Now, yes, that is correct. Okay. So if there's only 2 people, you're only feeding 4, you're not going to want 50 pieces of pinwheel sandwich. Okay. But you have to look at it as, what can I get out of what I have to buy?
Yeah.
At least here in the US, I don't know what it's like in the UK. The smallest package of tortilla shells you can buy is 10. So then base everything you're buying on the 10. Okay.
Yeah. So we've got our normal packet of tortillas are 8.
Okay.
That's the biggest packet we can get. That is the only packet we can get is 8. Right. We can get the smaller ones, but you've got to really search for them.
But it's not.
Hi, Shirley.
Hi. It's not just what I'm trying to say, though, is don't look at it as, okay, I've got 10 because I just said that. What I'm looking at is you only have to use 2 of those tortilla shells. So only do what you're going to use out of it. That leaves you 6, in your case, 6 other shells you can use for another meal or something else.
Absolutely right.
So you have to look at it. It goes back to the perspective thing. You have to look at it from a different perspective.
Absolutely. You know,
well, that's a deal.
That's a pretty good deal. Yeah,
that I wouldn't turn down. That's something you ain't gonna get made yourself.
Yeah. But so the whole point is, it's about taking a step back. As you said with the pinwheels, and we were shocked by those because we worked out you could get 10 of those out of a tortilla wrap, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can get 10, 10 pinwheel sandwiches out of one tortilla wrap.
Right.
But they only had ham and turkey in it, was it?
I think it was ham and turkey. Yeah.
Or just ham, turkey, and cheese?
Ham, turkey, cheese, lettuce. There was, I'm assuming, a mayo in it or a sauce of some sort. And yeah, that's all that was in the sandwich itself. Yes.
Yeah. So most people over here for Christmas have turkey and ham in the house.
Right.
Because that's our main meats for Christmas. Mm-hmm. Turkey and ham. Well,
not
that means you don't have to go and buy it because you've probably got loads of it.
You don't have turkey, you have goose.
Oh, no, we don't have goose, thank you. I'm not paying 80 quid for a bird. Anytime we're going to have goose if I raise that bugger myself. And then I'm not, because they're the best guard dogs in the world. Can I just say?
No, I get you. I was just messing with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, if you got turkey and you've got ham, or a gammon, as they call it over here, you've already got half the ingredients for those tortilla wraps.
Right.
For the pinwheel sandwiches, because it's leftovers.
Yep.
We've all got a lettuce banging around the fridge for Christmas. We've all got mayo banging around the place, or salad cream, or whatever you want to use. It's not that hard. So why would you want to spend 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks for something you're making out of leftovers?
It's so simple to make them too. That's the thing that gets me, is that they make it, this is so hard to do. No, it is not.
No, it really isn't. And that's why over the next few weeks I'm going to be showing how to make some of this stuff, so you know what it is. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not that difficult, because I think some people think, oh yeah, but I can't make that.
Right.
But when they see somebody else doing it and seeing how easy it actually is, then they think, oh, well, actually, maybe I could do that. And I think people don't have enough confidence in themselves anymore. The other thing with these platters is that our stores are shut on Christmas Day.
Right.
So if you're not going to be using it on Christmas Day, you've got to pick it up on Christmas Eve. So then you're fighting all the fellas doing their Christmas shopping at the last minute because they haven't gone and done their Christmas shopping, and they've gone, oh, whoops, right?
We don't work that way.
Sure you don't.
I am with Patty, and we usually have ours done except for the little incidentals before Christmas.
Yeah. So then you've got things like, most of our group things, are done on Boxing Day. That's when we have our nibbles.
Right.
So then if you're getting those platters, you're picking them up on Christmas Eve. They're taking up room in your fridge and freezers for 2 days.
Mm-hmm. And getting soggy and ruined.
And they're getting soggy, and the bread's going hard, and it's going all weird, and it's just not right. And then you're serving it on Boxing Day. And by New Year's, everyone's wondering why they've got barley belly.
Yes.
Okay.
Bally belly. I'll have to remember that one. Okay.
Okay. So,
yes, Glenda, you are correct.
Yes. It's really stupid easy to make. And, cream cheese, I've always got cream cheese in the house. We've still got 4 jars of cranberry sauce from last year.
Yeah.
because we picked it up on
Cranberry
offer.
sauce is not that hard to make. It's just time consuming and letting it set up. That's the
Well,
only
exactly,
thing.
but we picked it up on offer.
Okay,
After
there's
last
that too.
Christmas, we got 4 jars for £1.
Right.
You know, so we've still got those sitting up in our cupboard. Not odd. You know?
I think we when we started talking about this a few weeks ago or last week or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I started processing in my head, and it really goes into a conversation I've had with many people over the last couple of weeks, but it really ties into this at the same time. When we were all, I'm in my 50s, I'll just go there with it. I'm in my 50s. When we were all younger, it took Julia Child 4 hours and 6 hours and 8 hours to make something because the confidence level, the knowledge, the experience were lacking for most people. Okay. We've now evolved and come to a realization that it really didn't take her 6 hours to make that meal. It was done in an hour and a half, and it still tasted just as fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Point I'm getting to is a lot of this stuff that we're talking about has been put out there as you have to buy it from us because we're the only ones that know how to make it for this cheap of a price. No, you don't. You've snoozed enough people over time to feel them. And people are getting lazy too. I mean, that's the other
thing. It's not
thing.
that they're getting lazy. I don't want to look at it as people getting lazy. But over the last 3 generations, and it is 3 generations because there's research on this, we have become completely dependent on supermarkets. Completely dependent on supermarkets.
If I'm not going to call them lazy, at least I'm going to call them. What I'm going to call it is the convenience factor. That has become,
because in the last 3 generations, women have had to go out to work as well as the men because the man's wage used to cover the whole family.
Right.
Women now have to go out to work to do that. Now, they used to choose to go to work at one stage if that's what they wanted to do and if that's what they agreed to do in the house. In some households now, the woman goes out to work and the man stays home. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, but it generally takes 2 incomes now to cover the cost of basic living.
Right.
Right? So that's already 8 to 10 hours of the second person in the family's, day that's taken up being outside of the home.
Right.
I was a single mum. I was working 16-hour split shifts because I was a chef, So I didn't have that time to spend at home with my kids and to do all of that stuff because I had to keep a roof over their head and clothes on their back and food on the table and all of the things. But I used to sit at the table, at the dining table, and I would absolutely make stuff from scratch because I couldn't afford not to.
Right.
But then I had the skill to do it, which is why now I teach it, because people need to know that it's not that difficult. Because I'll tell you what, when I started cooking as an apprentice, I'm surprised I didn't get the sack. I started working as an apprentice because I nearly killed my father, my brother, and my brother's dog. I'm not even kidding. I read a recipe wrong. And instead of putting 1 to 2 tablespoons of curry powder in something, I put 12.
Oh my God.
Now, we're not talking about the generic curry powder that I use for Tanny that, I could put a tablespoon of that in and you won't even taste that it's hot.
Right.
I'm talking about...
Patty's over here coughing just thinking about it.
Right, I'm talking about a Vindaloo masala base. A Vindaloo... a proper Vindaloo masala powder base. And I nearly killed them all.
Oh, wow.
My brother, who has spent so much time in Southeast Asia, eating Thai food, etc., who has burnt all the roof of his taste buds off, even he was choking.
Oh, wow.
He couldn't believe it. He was like, what the hell have you done? And I'm like, well, I just read Mum's recipe.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm not really.
But my dad turned around and he said, if you do not want to kill your son, you need to go and learn to cook. And he said, that means you need to go and be a chef. And he said, everybody's going to want to eat. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. People need to eat.
That's right.
And he's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong at all.
He was never wrong. I was never out of work unless I chose to be, you know. And now I can put stuff together with whatever we've got in the house without any issue.
Which, in the end, back to tie this into what we're talking about, is just what you've been talking about. Yeah. Most of the things we're talking about are items you have in your home. Why not take advantage of that? You can make this. It may not be exactly what you were looking for. It may not have the color. It may not have the frilly frills around it. But you can make it something of your own.
Absolutely.
And I really agree with what Suburban Hillbilly said.
Yeah.
Simplicity is different than laziness. And I want everybody to understand. Today's generation is all about laziness. I'm not referring to everybody being lazy.
No.
I'm referring to people have taken simplicity to the extreme, and I want somebody else to make it. But there's valid reasons behind it, and Blue does demonstrate that. Working parents, things like that. I get that. But we've become accustomed to letting them do it for us instead of us actually spending 10 extra minutes making yourself and saving $50.
But see, when we were at school, all this stuff was taught at school as well. It's not taught at school anymore unless it's not a compulsory thing anymore. And they will only teach it over here if they have 12 or more kids who want to do the class.
Right.
If they don't have 12 or more kids who want to do the catering class, as it's now called, they won't run it.
Right.
It's not there.
Nope.
All this stuff that we used to do, and it's just not available to us anymore. So you've got 2 generations that have gone through that haven't had any kind of cooking instruction.
Mm-hmm.
Mum doesn't have time to teach.
Right.
And the kids are used to now, like, they get just dates arriving at school for the 6th formers, which is like college years. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the last 2, what you guys call high school, which is the last 2 years, I think.
Last 3 or 4, depending on where you're at. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Even though kids get free dinners over here in most places, or they might have to pay for dinner, a lot of kids will buy Just Eats, which is like delivery service, which I think is like DoorDash for you guys.
DoorDash or Uber Eats here, yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same kind of thing, but they get it delivered to school.
Right.
Or they'll go down to the local chip shop down the bottom of the corner. Mm-hmm. Or they'll, go and get somewhere. Tanny talks of buying chocolate on his way to school because that was his breakfast. But he didn't know any better.
He didn't know any better, exactly.
We've got generations out there that don't know any better.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
We've got people that are coming from real basic, as low as it gets, who don't know how to look after themselves. So the idea now is if we have the skills, we need to pass it on. And if we're only passing it on to one person, you've changed X amount of lives doing just that. And only helping one person. At a time. Yeah. Because otherwise the problem's too big.
Right.
And I know I spoke about earlier that in this country, 1/3 of the population is now living in poverty. Mm-hmm. I can't look at that. Mm-hmm. I can't
look at helping the lady down the street or the girl across the way or somebody down at a grocery store or somebody you met at the library and they want your help.
Yeah. Or the girl
You
that
can't-
I saw at the grocery store who was in
yes.
tears because she couldn't afford the thing. So I showed her where to get the stuff to buy the thing to make it herself. Because she didn't know how to cook, but she couldn't
Right.
afford to get this thing. So I showed her where to get the ingredients, where to get them so that she could do it for a fraction of the cost of the pre-made item so that she could go home, make it, and then put whatever it was on the table that she needed to do.
Right.
You know? But that's the thing. If you see someone in tears in the supermarket, they're not in tears for no reason. They're in tears because they can't afford what's going on, especially over here. And I think if we're able to go and give them an encouraging word or to try and help out, we have a duty to do that. We do have a duty to do that. You know, because you can change that entire day for that person. You can change, you don't know what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really important that if you do see someone struggling, that you do what you can to go and help that person. And it doesn't matter that you don't know them. So what? So you don't know them. Does it matter? No. It doesn't matter. Will you ever see them again? No. But they'll remember what you did.
And that's the important part is they'll remember.
They'll remember.
Yeah.
Now they might have a skill that they can go and use and expand on. And that's the important part.
Right.
And it's not about what that you get back out of it, because what you get back out of it is the feeling that you've actually done something good for somebody. Yep.
Okay. I agree.
What have you got? Glenda says, if you want a cool Christmas gift for your kids, make a recipe book or index cards with all your family recipes. I did that, and my kids tell me it's their favorite recipes. They're simple, easy ones, but some of them are over 100 years old.
Yep.
Exactly that. Suburban Hillbilly says, when I was a kid, we used to eat pinto beans and fried potatoes every night. Sometimes we would change it up and have fried potatoes and pinto beans. You know what you have to do? You do what you have to. Yeah.
Yep.
My kids, I will tell you this is so funny. My kids had no problem eating what was put in front of them. There was very, very little that they got fussy about. The only type of fussy food that we ever had was that Bam can't tolerate peas and corn in his mouth. It's very much a texture thing, and he doesn't like them, and they will make him gag. So that was really the only thing. But you give them things like cabbage, and they'd be fine. Until their mate said something at school. And then all of a sudden they didn't want cabbage.
Right.
So I said, well, that's good. We're not having cabbage for tea.
Yeah.
And they went, why? That looks like cabbage. I went, no, not cabbage. It's cabbage. It's cabbage.
Oh, I love it.
You know?
I get it.
And sometimes it's about tricking someone's brain or giving kids a loophole.
Right.
Because it's not cool. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
My mum doesn't make cabbage. She makes cabbage.
Oh, my Lord.
And I tell you what, their fussy friends used to come and eat it. Because it wasn't cabbage. Because it was cabbage. Teresa Jerkiewicz, hello, darling. How are you?
Hello.
Suburban Hillbilly says, honestly, I'm cautious of helping people. I had a homeless man try to open my car door while I was sitting in it. I had another one that was a family, and I offered them food, and they told me they didn't want it. They wanted money. Yeah, you get the odd ones that do that. Mm-hmm. You do get the odd ones that do that. Okay. But, it is what it is. but it just shouldn't stop you from helping somebody.
Mm-mm.
It shouldn't help you from showing some humanity if you can see someone's really struggling. You know,
Yep.
I can't walk past someone who's in tears. I can't do it. I cannot physically walk past someone who is so upset that in public they are sobbing their heart out. Trying not to, so obviously it's making it more obvious.
Right.
You know, because I've been there. And I can't walk past that. You know, and if I've been able to help them with a kind word or just showing them that they're seen, because sometimes all it is knowing that they're seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not in a way of shoving a camera in their face and going, "Oh, I helped this person and gave them $1,000." You know, because that annoys me more than anything. I'm not gonna lie. You know?
Yeah.
It's just doing the little things. It's just doing the little things, you know?
So can we expect to see this on a reoccurring process?
Wait.
The live.
Yes. Every Friday until Christmas Eve. Well, okay, so what Fridays have we got? We've got next Friday's the 8th, we've got the 15th, and we've got the 22nd. Okay, and we're going to be looking at all kinds of different things. We may even try and do a couple of live demonstrations of making things. Won't be tiny.
I don't recall having that conversation.
Oh, you know. You know.
We'll see how it goes.
So I still help people. I do it often, but I'm over the aggression in the grocery store. Absolutely. And people do. They are so aggressive, and especially at this time of year.
Yep.
I have had full-on older women attack me in the supermarket over the last packet of ham. I'm not going to lie to you.
They're brazen about it, too. They don't care.
No, but it's like, seriously? Fine, if you want it that badly, have it. I don't care, but I'm not going to fight you for it. Hi, Janine. How you doing, darling? Miss Jasper Pudding Face is in the house. But yeah, the aggression in the grocery stores is out of control. It's literally out of control. You know. Uh-oh.
What happened?
I don't know. What did you do?
What did I do? It's your show.
I didn't do anything. You disappeared, dude.
You did too. The whole thing went blank.
But I didn't do it. I was still here.
I have no control over anything, so it's not me.
You just went poof. You went poof. That's all I can say. You went poof.
Went poof on my end.
Or did we both go poof? I don't know. You went poof. That's your computer. That's a you problem.
Oh, but I went poof on your end, and that's a me problem. Okay, I get it.
Okay, guys. So my very first Vlogmas video is going to be a little bit late. It was going to be coming out 4 minutes ago. But it's turned out to be a little bit longer than I was expecting. So it's going to take a little bit longer on my my hamsters that run my internet are got 3 legs and they're drunk. So it takes a while for them to get anything done. So we're going to get it sorted. They will be coming up, but you might find that there's 2 videos tomorrow, not just 1.
Duly noted.
Okay, but I will get it up as soon as possible. I've actually had to stop it uploading while we were doing the live because I can't do both.
Nope.
No. But yeah, but I would like to thank Tony because he's been awesome and he just puts up with me so much. You know,
I enjoy it thoroughly.
And we will be back here on Friday, so get your questions ready. Go and do your research. Go and see what it is that you're interested in making or doing or stuff like that you might want to ask us questions about, because we're more than happy to answer your questions, and that's what we're here for on the Fridays, right?
Yep.
So yeah, so keep an eye out for the videos. I know Tony's got videos coming up. What are you doing, Mr. Kettle Kitchen?
On Sunday, we're having the live giveaway for Noodle November. We
Awesome.
have another collaboration coming out the 11th through the 24th of December, and I'm doing that with Ryan over at Heavenly Hills Homestead. It's called Odd Holiday Meals.
Yeah.
Not your traditional holiday meals.
Yeah.
And then starting January 1st, Mud and Mascara, Tiffany, is doing her first collaboration, and that is tailgate time. It's all about finger foods and things you take to a tailgate party or a gathering or a family get together. So
yeah,
that's what's in the works.
And do you have something happening on a Friday evening?
Oh, well, then, I have game night Tuesday night.
Yeah.
That's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Sorry. Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, with a certain individual from the UK who seems to be a little raspy this late in the evening, might be joining me, and that's for the late live show.
A late show on a Friday is back. Yeah.
I'm no longer doing the Thursday night Homestead Hangout, just so everybody doesn't go looking for me. I'm not there. I moved back to Friday. And then on Sunday, we have the functioning chat. So
awesome. So the Friday night one for you guys in the States, it's Friday night. For us here in the UK, it's 4:00 on a Saturday morning. I'm already awake. I'm already awake. Tanny goes off to work on a Saturday morning. He's already gone off to work. I'm just sitting here on my plum, really.
There you go.
Yeah. So it'll be awesome. So yeah, have a look at a few things. If you want some advice on stuff, come back to us next week with your questions, or you can email me or Tony, or just get hold of us during the week in whatever way you want to. Yes, but until then, we will see you later. Have an awesome rest of your day. Don't stress out. Don't get overwhelmed by all the stuff. Just take a step back. All right?
As a wise person once said, you can do it.
You can do it. See you later, guys. Have an awesome one. Bye.